just coming from the machine shop, picked up the plates, and they turned out very good. So the guy went ahead and set everything up like I wanted. The pipe's right here. He recessed perfectly. So the pipe fits perfectly in each one of the slots. So that way, once we fit this in perfectly, it's just a matter of welding it around here. Went ahead and did it like I wanted, lighten everything up. So the plate is a lot lighter and all machined out for the pipe work that we're using. Turned out very good. A lot going on, so let me see if I can do this all in one shot instead of doing several video clips. Okay, this is what we have here. Bad news, unfortunately. I was at the machine shop. He gave me a call, told me he needed me to meet up with him, and I had to pick back up our pistons. The bad part is this piston that came out of Teddy's block, which was in cylinder number 3. As you can see, the ring land broke off. This was one of the pistons that we were about to ship out, and luckily I discovered that it was cracked, and we sent out a better piston. Unfortunately, Mr. Coleman called me over and said, "Orlando, take a look at this." I took a picture of it. We got a gouge in the block, which is not good. Best part about it is there's a solution. So I had to pick up the pistons. He wasn't sure, but he gave me his source, one of his contacts. What we can have done is we can go to, I can send these pistons out. I have to fill out the spec sheet, send these pistons out to a company called Line2Line coatings. They make very good high performance friction coating coatings, all types of coatings. And they specialize in recoating pistons, generating higher horsepower from engines because of reduced friction and decreasing piston slop in the cylinder. And for people that have gotten engines bored out and they want a tighter to piston to wall clearance. So for example, if you're running a different type of fuels, you may want a tighter piston to wall clearance, so you can send your piston out, have them recoat this piston with a special type of coating, as well as reduce that slop, and it'll save you the expense of having to order all new pistons. So that saves us a tremendous amount of money. So I have these boxes. I am waiting to do the best thing. So this is what I have to do. I have to take him our cylinder head dowels. These were the original factory dowels. So I did some clips of those. The original dowels, like I said, it's got a slot in it. I don't like this little slot because this little cutout right here can compress. It compresses easy so that it can slide in the cylinder head, but the downfall is that's good for standard. High horsepower engines, this thing can compress and cause the head to shift back and forth. It allows the head to walk a little bit on the deck, and it can cause the head gasket to blow. Even in my race car, what I've done, I've gotten rid of these style dowels and I've ordered high performance dowels. As you can see, this is solid all the way around. This will go in the head. So we use his Teddy's original ARP bolts that we bought for his engine. We're stepping up to 1/2-inch bolts. So there's a couple different things I got to do. But anyway, if I stick this bolt in here, you can see the slot. So factory bolts doesn't really hold the head into position at all. You can see the play of this, and this is very loose on here. You can see that this would not fit tight. So that would allow the whole head to shimmy back and forth on top of the block. We don't want that at all. So hence the importance of the dowel pins. So better dowel pins, better security and sealage of your head gasket, and it decreases any type of movement. I have these, like I said, on my GTI race car. They've worked excellent. I'm gonna have to order some more for our engines, but this will get us by for the time being. So I'm gonna take him the original factory dowels, as well as the high performance ones. I got a set, and he can use this for bolting the torque plate to the engine block. He wants to hone out the block with the worst cylinder, the one that this bad boy caused a little damage. Find out what type of dimensions or spec pistons that we're going to need, and then he will give me that information. I will then fill out this spec sheet right here, send all 12 pistons to Line2Line, have them coat all 12 so we can be consistent. So instead of just doing one cylinder and having one cylinder generating any power or one engine, we want a good baseline for both engines, have both blocks consistent. That way, in the interim, next time we come across something like this, best thing to do is order even larger pistons, but he said we have to be extremely careful with doing that because of course you thin out the cylinder walls and you can get cracked blocks and different things like that. So you don't want to go too big on the bore, especially since we're working already with the biggest bore VR6 engine that's out there, pretty much factory engine that's on the market that comes out from the VW Audi group. So this is what we're going to do, and that will put us in a tremendously better position. That means the pistons are going to be a little bit bigger. Our bore's going to be a little bit bigger, so it's going to take it a little bit over 3.6 liters. We're going to put a lot more power out. It's going to be less friction in the cylinder walls because they're going to be coated. And so instead of, the pistons will be coated. So instead of us having to worry about a lot of extra friction, even the factory put some type of friction coating, as you can see, where that was wearing off. But once that wore off and that ring land broke, that caused this to really make some wall contact and decrease and start rocking back and forth inside the bore and creating a cylinder that was a little bit larger than we would like. Back onto this now, good news about this, I got the updated intake plates back. So these are good. They turned out very, very well. Turned out just like I wanted them to. The impression with this is, if you look at the two ahead, it gives you the impression that this top is even wider, like it has squished the air in more. No, the dimensions are exactly the same. So if I take a measurement from the top of the plate, from here, the bottom of where it was bored out or flanged out, it comes exactly in the same location, which is good. So that means the distance from here to here, all the way across, is the same. So that way, this doesn't give any more airflow. This will flow a lot better. Now the reason for that is, this original one, none of this, you got more surface area here that's flat. Here we've eliminated all of that. We have a nice sharp V groove, comes up into a nice V around here. We got rid of all of this flat spot. We have it V'd out like a funnel. All of this will take an extra air into each cylinder. As well as you can see a nice point between each one of the cylinders. Very nice. Another thing that turned out pretty good also is when I had the top spacer bolted in, it flowed pretty good. So when our intake manifold comes down and it hits number 6, or depending on which way we position the intake manifold, plenum on air, this one left just a little bit of a gap right in here, whereas over here it fits perfect. So that extra flare would allow the airflow to come in and just funnel right down into that last cylinder over there, and that works good. So with the bolts in position, that works perfectly. So you can see the little outline that I drew on both of them, where this one cuts right perfectly at just right there on the money, and this one had a little bit of a gap. Nothing major, like I said, this could have been bored out, but this is already ready to go. So then I filed these down just to deburr all the extra material off it. I'm getting ready to call my contact up to see if this guy can go ahead and do the back plates of all of these like that, and then I'm going to have this additional step. The original designer had this small little flat plate. It was a teeny little plenum. He didn't even need nowhere as much pipe work, so he probably had extremely thin wall aluminum and just welded across it just to hold it. Plenum this plate and this small. He didn't need much material. We went with perfect pipe size and diameter for each one of the bores. So what I'm going to have him do also, in addition, machine to accept the larger pipe. That way these will weld in a lot better and it won't create a lip. So if we weld onto this, it's still going to be a little underlying lip underneath this that can create some turbulence as well. I will have him machine it so that the pipe will fit perfectly down inside here. And then the welder, once he welds in, that'll keep this fixed really good and give a good, nice tight sealing. So when these all come together, the back plate should look like this, and then it'll have a pipe welded that'll slide right into the recess, and it'll fit perfectly around there and be welded up, and it looks very good. So those are the plans. I have a lot of work ahead of me, so I have to run these dowels up to the machine shop, Coleman Brothers. Wait for him to give me the information. I'll fill out the spec sheet, mail those out. But once I leave Coleman Brothers, I'll try to run over to the other guy, call him up, see if he can take these plates and have them ready for me tomorrow.